Yo, people, welcome back to the YouTube channel. You already know what time it is. It's time for another episode of London Clubs Carnage. And must I say, it is a new lineup. Do you know what I'm saying? Let me switch these two around because I got to have Dan and Toby close together because, you know, they're close friends on the content stratosphere. They've been working prior to this. I didn't know. So I've lined this up perfectly. But like I said, I've got some special guests on the show. We've never had Lee on the channel. So first of all, Lee, bro, how are you doing? Absolute pleasure to have you on.
No worries. Thanks for inviting me on. Yeah, I'm all good. All good. Good weekend. So yeah, buzzing after the weekend. So good performance from the Arsenal and the top four races. It's like the Grand National. There's a few fallers now. Like but there's a few still running on. There's still a few running on.
Yeah. I can see glistening in Toby's eye. But before I get to Toby, another special guest we've never had on the show before, Dan Lawless, bro. How are you doing? Pleasure to have you on. Pleasure.
Yeah, no, mate. I'm doing amazing. West Ham in Europe quarterfinals. Nothing can break my spirit. I'm happy. Good to be on the show. Obviously, you've been on the Big Six with you and Turkish has had me on. Good to be on your own show. So yeah, things could not be better.
And Toby, he's been having this little glistening in his eyes. I don't know. He's got a big smile on his face. He's happy today. I'm surprised there's not any alcohol flowing. How you doing, bro?
I'm great, Matisse. I am great. I'm fantastic, man. It's just you know that feeling you get when someone's been talking, yapping your ear off, and you've had it in the neck from a certain group of fans, and they're all silent. Apart from maybe one person. After the game, it's a brilliant feeling. I must say, it's a brilliant feeling.
Well, listen, do you know what? We're gonna lead with that. We're gonna lead with the Tottenham West Ham game, of course, because you two played each other at the weekend. And I mean, I'll start with Dan. How are you feeling, bro? Because I've always felt that West Ham squad-wise, it's very difficult to go to Tottenham after just playing maybe the biggest night in your history, you know, for a long time against Sevilla. You got Lyon in the next round. You could secure Champions League football that way. Are West Ham fans really that emotionally struck by losing to Tottenham? Or is it just, you know, a case of we haven't really got the squad to compete? We were always going to get leggy and it is what it is.
Yeah, like, you know, I wouldn't say we're emotionally struck really at all. Most West Ham fans are like, yeah, you know, that's it, right? Whatever. We lost to Spurs. Let them celebrate. Let them celebrate their little cup final that they had because we're competing for, you know, in an actual cup competition, right? We're actually fighting to try and actually win a trophy. So we're still buzzing over that night against Sevilla, one of the favourites for the competition. You know what I mean? We went and played 120 minutes, last minute goal from Yarmolenko. You know what I mean? We're buzzing right now. So that was a little roadblock. We always knew it was a tough ask to play 120 minutes against a team the quality of Sevilla. Then a few days later, play a London derby away from home. They're obviously up for it. They was sitting there all on social media. Oh, what cat's chant should we come up with? What about this idea for a cat chant? What about this idea for a cat? Tobs is taking inflatable cats. Tobs is taking inflatable cats.
No, he didn't, did he? You didn't actually, did you? Because I know he would.
I didn't take it in, but best believe I got a photo of one.
That's his profile picture now. That's his profile, and he's sitting there, going meowing. He's meowing at a football match. Zoomer off. Yeah, it's like nah. Honestly, so yeah, I'm. You know, you brush it off. One of those things. We could have got something out of the game, but it wasn't to be. Sadly, you know.
I mean, before I come to Toby, because I know he's going to go on a rampage and absolutely drag Dan probably by this. I don't know, but I was going to say he's going to drag him by his headphones.
I'll be counter punching. Don't worry, I've got my counter punch.
Yeah, I just want to get Lee in there before I know Toby does that. Lee, bro, you saw. I mean, obviously, it's an interesting one, right? I got two questions for you because one question is for West Ham, if they were to actually win the Europa League. How would you look upon that as an Arsenal fan? Do you mind? Do you have like any sort of rivalry with them as an Arsenal fan, or would you not mind? Because you know they're going to start singing songs about European Cups if they do pick one up at the end of the season.
Good luck to them. Good luck to them. I've got no issue with West Ham winning the. Personally, I don't know what most Arsenal fans would say, but I've got no issue with if West Ham win it. I'm pleased that they won the other night. I wouldn't say that I'm supporting them like 100%, like, you know, like going mad and all that. But I wouldn't bother me. I'd be quite happy to see West Ham win it. I think, do you know what? Over the last couple of years, they deserve something. They really do. They've been a really good side over the last couple of years, and you know, there's no real. You know, I was just saying before we come on here, I bumped into a few of them on the train. There's no animosity between West Ham and Arsenal. Never has been, and I don't think there will be.
Wait, Lee. So you just said they deserve those. Why? Why do they deserve to win something?
Because
why?
I think generally, you know, they've not gone in. How can I say it? Like, they're not spending big money. They've gone in there with a coach who's coaching a team, and I like the way that they're properly done it. Like, you know, they're not throwing lots of money at it. You know,
really?
They're playing better than what they should be. They shouldn't be really at this moment with the money that they've spent competing with the likes of Arsenal and Spurs, but they are, and you have to give them credit for that.
How much do they spend on Allaire?
Allaire's not even at the club anymore. Why are we talking about Allaire?
I was just thinking, who is Allaire?
How much did they spend on Sebastian Allaire?
They get 50,000 fans every week. You know what I mean? Or it might be even more. You know what I mean? Like at the London Stadium. I'm going to be really honest. I'll tell you why I feel for West Ham fans, and we haven't got that so much, Toby. If I'll be honest, is that through money and everything like that, they've lost Upton Park, took them over to the London Stadium. It's not the greatest stadium in the world. It's like with Arsenal and Spurs, we've moved stadiums, everything that we had, pubs, restaurants, whatever you want to say, all still in the same vicinity for us to use. West Ham fans have had to move away from that, no choice of their own, and it ain't the greatest stadium in the world to watch football, as we know, and they've done something about it. You know, I've got a little bit of admiration for that, and I do feel sorry for West Ham fans if from that point of view, taking away. Look, it's bad enough taking away Highbury and probably White Hart Lane from our point of view, but we've still got the same places to go to. For West Ham, it's a little bit difficult, and they've done well. And you know, and I certainly don't begrudge them if they were to go and win it. I was quite pleased that they beat Sevilla, you know, and if they get into the Champions League, wouldn't it be great? Wouldn't it be great if it's Arsenal and West Ham in the Champions League? We'd love it. All three London clubs in the Champions League: Chelsea, West Ham, Arsenal, and poor old Tottenham in the conference.
Toby's world would crumble. Toby's world would lose. Any hair left on his head would fall out. That beard would decimate so quickly.
He wouldn't be serving you a pina colada in the summer. I can tell you that now. If that happens, I'll tell you that. You know?
All I'm saying is, and I get where Lee. Well, I don't get where Lee's coming from because I don't get the West Ham love. But the points he was making were valid around the fans not really having a choice on the stadium move and stuff like that. Blah blah blah. Yada yada yada. But I think the whole point around West Ham, they deserve to win something, or you'd want them to win something. It just it really rubbed me up the wrong way because I'm like, they've not put themselves in a position to win anything. And Spurs, who have put themselves in countless finals and semi-finals over the years, we've not won anything and we get slammed. Why don't we deserve to win something?
No, but we've supported our team through thick and thin, mate. The championship, everything.
We've actually got to a cup final multiple times over the past couple of years. We've got to numerous semi-finals. It's just this notion that West Ham deserves something. They don't. They don't. If they deserve something, then all power to them. But this is a team that have been in one cup final in my lifetime at the top flight level. And I said this to Dan as well. I'm not talking playoff finals in the championship. I'm talking cup domestic trophies. This is a team that's been in one cup final in my lifetime at the top flight, the very, very highest in English.
So why do they anger you so much? Why do I see that vein popping in your forehead?
The anger stems from fans like Dan who think they have a right to talk to me about trophies, talk to me about success, this is that and the other, when there are no.
You haven't seen success though. You've literally had no more success than Leicester. So why can't I talk to you?
Matisse, I'm not saying they haven't seen success, and I'm not saying he can't banter me. But what I'm saying is, it's very, very hilarious to talk about. It's like me talking to you about winning trophies.
No, it's not. It's not the same at all because you've only won one trophy in the last what?
No, Matisse. No, the principle still stands though. I have no right to talk to you about saying, oh, you can only win this trophy, that, and the other because you're a winning machine. And I'm not saying Spurs are a winning machine.
But you act like the levels. This is why I bring up Trent, because the way Spurs fans talk, like you are this winning machine team.
No, I never said that.
I have to remind you and bring you down. Like
no, bro. No,
it's not this West Ham.
No, bro. Man. You have made some crazy statements about Spurs and West Ham. Some absolutely crazy. I watched some of your watch long as well, by the way. This guy was saying in the watch long that Spurs were lucky to win that game. What match were you watching?
Well, the first goal was lucky. The first goal was lucky to start with.
Absolutely battered you. You're fortunate. You're fortunate that the scoreline was respectable. It could have been 5, 6, 7 goals. We missed so many chances. We genuinely could have hammered you. Pun intended.
I was about to say.
And Big Man, when you deep it, their 2 best openings came from Spurs making mistakes. It came from us making mistakes.
But that's how your openings come from. Look at your first goal. Was it the second goal with Masuaku? I think it was either the first, second. When Masuaku loses the ball, he passes the ball. You get the ball off Masuaku.
No, you mean the first goal when Doherty? Yeah,
that was it. The first goal.
The one that we didn't score.
Masuaku's mistake, and then obviously then it gets a lucky deflection into the. So that was a lucky goal.
Okay, and the second one. The second one, right? Then the second one when Bentancur beat the press. Plays a pass into Kane, and Kane splits your defense with 1 pass. Where was the mistake there?
Well, it's a whole team mistake, wasn't it?
Oh, it's the whole team mistake.
You see what I mean about this guy? Read it.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean about this guy?
Football's
about what I mean about this guy.
You got to capitalize on mistakes. That's what it is. If you think it was this one-sided game, that you just dominated,
it was. It literally was.
We was on the ascendancy when you got your third. It was all West Ham. Look at the possession. Look at the stats in that second half.
All West Ham. Look at the stats, bro.
There was one point we had 75% possession in the game.
You did nothing.
I'll take a look at the second half statistics. Actually,
take a look at it. You did nothing, bro.
The second half statistics overall, because I can't break down 10 minute by 10 minute, but overall second half, 53% possession for Tottenham, 47% for West Ham, 12 shots for Tottenham, 2 for West Ham, none on target.
Yeah, it died obviously once they scored their third.
What happened in that second half? Because I was watching the cars go vroom vroom.
Apparently we didn't dominate. Matisse.
As a neutral, can I say as a neutral, well, I did want West Ham to win. I do feel that the first 10, 15 minutes Spurs were very, very good. And I think that was maybe because West Ham were a little bit leggy. I don't know. But the damage was done. The damage was done. And I think in the second half, I thought West Ham huffed and puffed. But they didn't. Tottenham had them where they wanted them, really. If I'll be honest, they could hit them on the counter-attack. And I think that Antonio should have scored with the ball when it went across 6 yards out, and he you know what I mean, he's hit the cockerel on the roof. You know what I mean? Like that can't be done. And I just think that once he went off, that just like West Ham become toothless. And I know they had possession and everything like that, but you just felt that it played into Tottenham's hands. I think Tottenham are a very, very, care I say it, dangerous side if they're in front, because they can soak up the pressure on the break with a counter attack. They find it very, very difficult if they have to break a team down. So I think that with West Ham giving them those 2 goals early on, it was always an uphill battle for them. Always an uphill battle. But listen, West Ham give it a go. I don't think you can say that they didn't. But I think that as a neutral, I just felt that Tottenham were always in control.
I have to ask you, Lee, as well. Do you see Tottenham as a threat for top 4? Obviously, we have a game. Well, we obviously have a game, Chelsea versus Arsenal, which is a big game because I see Arsenal fans are starting to look upon that 3rd spot, get involved there as well. They want it to be chased down. But Tottenham, obviously, behind you as well. Do you fear them at all in this race, or are you still quite confident that your team will make top 4? So it'll be big if you do.
I will always fear Tottenham while they've got Harry Kane and Song in their side. They've got they're 2 world-class players. I don't care what anybody says, particularly on the counter attack, because what happens is Kane drops into that hole and it allows like Song to do what he wants to do. To be honest, Song hasn't been playing that well in the last few games, but he played really well yesterday.
You're right.
Because I think that West Ham, because West Ham were pushing, that meant they had to leave that little gaps at the back.
Yeah.
I think the one thing with Spurs, and I think that the problem, and I think it's a little bit that Arsenal have had over the years, is that when they played, I thought a little bit like the game against, it was a similar sort of game, Manchester United, Tottenham, as it was yesterday. Tottenham, I felt were on top of them, but Man United hit them on the break, and the reason that was because defensively you can get at Tottenham. You know what I mean? Like, I don't think anybody can say that they can't. They're a little bit vulnerable there. So, but while they've got those two players up front, of course they are. I think they're with 3 points in front with a game in hand, and that game in hand is Chelsea. So it's a difficult game. We've got. I think next weekend to be the next round of fixtures will be pivotal because Tottenham have Newcastle, which is not a gimme, and we've got Crystal Palace, which is not a gimme. So there's possibilities that points could be dropped there. Listen, the one thing that Spurs can't afford to do is drop too many points now. Where Arsenal have got that little cushion of 3 points. But so if say for instance that Newcastle were to get something against Spurs and Arsenal then went and won, the gap opens up and it's going to be a lot tighter. So Tottenham have got they go into bat first, so they can put pressure on us. So I think there's many turns to go yet, and I still think Manchester United are definitely in it. Unfortunately for West Ham, I think and Wolves now they've just faded out of it. I think it'll be between Arsenal, Man United, and Tottenham now.
I have to say as well, I think the way you analyse Tottenham's spot on, because I look at Tottenham, I think to myself, especially that City game, they were devastating on the break, devastating, and those big games now that are coming up for them, if they do soak up the pressure and do break, Kane's vision is ridiculous. The pass for Son, Kane's passing is of the level of a playmaker. It's on the level of a central attacking midfielder. He people say the number 10 position is dead, and Kane said, "Don't worry, I'll come and do that job too." That's what it's becoming now. I mean, Toby, is your confidence levels rising, or I'm not going to get too much smoke for you?
I'll just say one thing, one more thing, and I'll tell you why Spurs are dangerous, because Spurs should be out of it now. Right, Spurs should be out of it now, and I'll tell you why, because no other team in and around that team, us have taken 6 points off of Manchester City. We've all lost to them, do you know what I mean? Yeah. Now if you take what would happen, take that 6 points off that they've got against Manchester City off, they're out of it. Yeah. But that is a game-changing 6 points for them, do you know what I mean? They've got 6 points on the board that no other. It's like basically giving them 6 points at the beginning of the season, saying, right, you're 6 points clear. And that is I still say, even when they beat Man City that day, it was a game changer, because every one of us is going to lose to someone that we shouldn't do, like Tottenham and all that. But those 6 points are a game changer, and that's why I fear Tottenham.
I think when I look at this race as well, I think we'll see if we will agree on it. But at the start of the season, we felt maybe Man United shouldn't even be in this conversation. They should have been in the top 4 with everything they spent. It should never have even been a race, and quote unquote, their failures this season has made it a race. And for me, Toby, when we look at this race going on, maybe experience comes down to it. Maybe that could be somehow, some way that there could be a choke. And I'm looking at Arsenal in the respect of their young team, players that haven't been in this position before with this pressure, young manager in Arteta, first time in this scenario where you've got more experience with Kane, Son, Antonio Conte, etc. Both of you are not in Europe, neither of you in the FA Cup. So you can just focus on this race for the top 4. Do you see a little inexperience coming into this where they might just give you that little moment where you could maybe take this? Because your fixture run, as far as I know, is not too bad. Our
fixture run on paper is the easiest. It's better than, I think it's better than United. It's better than Arsenal's in terms of when you look at the average. Sorry, I'm plugging in my charger. When you look at the average position of the teams that we have left to face, I think ours is the lowest. We got Norwich away to play, Brentford away to play, Newcastle at home, Brighton at home. I can't remember the other ones as well. There's a couple there that Burnley at home and stuff like that. So they're not easy games, but they're more favourable. Leicester at home,
Brighton, Aston Villa as well. Mid-table teams are not really.
they're not easy fixtures, but like they're more favourable than like Arsenal's running. I think Arsenal got some really difficult away ones.
Only Liverpool away is your really quote unquote tough game, and obviously you've got Arsenal as well to play.
Yeah, I think we've definitely got more tough games than that. But I get what you mean. You're saying like that's literally a part aside from teams like around us or above us. That's like the toughest. That's the toughest game we'll play. But for me, I can't look at the quality of fixture, because the quality of if quality of fixtures were a thing, Spurs should have beaten Wolves at home. Spurs should have beaten Southampton at home. Spurs should have gone away to Burnley and got points. Spurs should have gone away to Southampton playing against 10 men and got 3 points. But Spurs should have gone away to Everton and got 3 points. We didn't do any of this. We dropped points in each of these games. So for me, it's all about the team, and I can only go off what I can see. And what I can see is a really inconsistent team. Like you don't know what you're gonna get from this team week to week, and that's the problem. I think with Arsenal, they are young. Arteta, this will be his, if he does manage to sort of push Arsenal all the way to the finish line, this will be his highest ever finish as a manager. But when you look at Arsenal, unfortunately, it pains me to say it, but like they just look more secure than Spurs. Like you don't really see them scraping certain matches. You don't really see them drop. Like nowadays, over the past, I'd say maybe like 3 to 4 months, Everton aside, I remember that shocking Everton result. When was the last time they've dropped points to a team that you expect them to not to drop points against? Like they've won the fixtures where you say, okay, cool, this should be a fixture that you're marking down as 3 points. If you're realistic about top 4, they're winning these fixtures. And these are the fixtures that Spurs are struggling in. Like look at the other day, Aston Villa, they were shocking. Aston Villa put in a pathetic performance against Arsenal, but Arsenal played well. But Spurs will play there in a couple weeks' time. I'm going to tip Spurs to win, but Spurs could easily drop points that game. They could easily drop points that game, and it's stuff like that that doesn't give me the confidence in Tottenham to get the job done. I think if the team were to show me some consistency post the international break, give me like, because we've won now like two games on the spin. So we beat Brighton away, we beat West Ham at home. So on paper, those are actually 2 pretty decent results. Go and win 2 more. We got Newcastle at home. We got Aston Villa away. Win those 2 games. Then after that, I think we got Brighton at home. Win another game. So then that'll be five games on the spin that you've won. And I think it's that type of form that then puts us in the conversation with Arsenal if we're talking really about seriously challenging for top 4, because all this stop, start, win, loss thing, it doesn't breed any sort of consistency. And when you don't have a consistent side going up against a side when you have an inconsistent side going up against a consistent side who have actually got consistency in their results over the calendar year, of course, the side that are more consistent are going to get top 4.
Yeah, no, 100%. I mean, before we come back to Leon on his thoughts on Arsenal, I really want to get his take on this team, because I think Arsenal are a difficult team to analyze, and I'm going to get into why. But Dan, what's your take on Arsenal as well, just from the outside perspective of looking in? Because for me, I've always said, especially in the last couple of years, Arsenal's strengths lie with their young players. That's the players that you look to for, you know, in times of hardship. Funnily enough, you look towards those young players to stand up and be counted for. Your Sakas, your Smith-Rowes, your Odegaards, Martinellis. Even, yes, Gabriel is kind of been up and down in form, but he's another so-called young player. Tierney, they was looking out for captain. He's not the oldest as well. How do you judge this team? Because when you look at Arsenal, they're in 4th. They're doing very well. If they were to make it, it's definitely exceeded, I think, everybody's expectations at the start of the season. But then also on top of that, they are playing 1 game a week most weeks. So how does that translate next season? And you'll know this because obviously you're in Europe right now. The difference, because I say Arsenal have a good 11 and then they've got a couple good players on the bench, but then the squad depth isn't there. So how do you kind of assess this Arsenal team right now with 1 game a week most times, just the domestic competitions? How highly do you rate them?
Yeah, I mean, look, you have to take that into consideration. Even, you know, Arsenal fans, when they missed out on Europe, a lot of them were saying, "Great!" Like, you know, some of them were saying, "I'm glad we missed out on Europe. Now we can just concentrate on the league." Well, they've just been concentrating on the league, and it's worked out, you know, a lot in their favor. I think, like, they've got a lot of young, bright players. Like, their academy right now is producing some really good talent, and over the years, Arsenal produce like promising youngsters on paper, you know, youngsters that you can look at and go, oh, okay, he looks like he might go on, and they never really did. Where these players now, it feels a bit different. It feels like, okay, these could be the sort of players that actually could establish themselves not just in Arsenal for years, but have other clubs sniffing around, some of the, you know, the Man Cities, the Real Madrids, the Liverpools, teams like that, trying to get hold of players like Saka. So they might even have to be fine to keep hold of some of them. But to really take Arteta seriously, I need to see what he does next season back in Europe, because even if he misses out on top four, there's no way that he's not getting some type of European football. They're getting some type, whatever happens, even if he ends up missing it, right? So at the very least, he'll be back in Europa, you know, if not the Champions League. And then it's about, okay, now you're back in there. How do you manage? How do you balance the Premier League and European football and then these other cup competitions? And if they go into them competitions and then just drop back down the table and can't get 2 top 4 finishes back to back, well, I feel it's kind of pointless. Like, the project has to be to get Arsenal back to first where they were in Wenger's later years, which was consistent top 4 side, then challenging. Like, that has to be the thing. So for me, next season, whatever happens, like, they've done well and they can take some positivity for that. It's all about next season and how they do next season and see if they can really take that consistency. And the signings are working out. If they can throw some more money at him, I mean, 150 mil to spend, if they throw some more money and they get them right, they could just be there. Or sometimes it's that bad, you get that couple of dodgy signings that can just set everything, you know, can just really make a mess of things. So it's very, very interesting times for Arsenal, I think, for sure.
Yeah, Arsenal confused me for so long because I couldn't work out what the style of play was. It looked like they were trying to counter. They weren't great at creating opportunities and open play with Arteta. They were going with this 3 at the back, the wing backs. They signed Willian. I found that so puzzling. But then I always said they signed some good young players as well. So what's the direction? And Lee, it feels with the Arsenal fan base, it's so like highs and then lows. There's some people that are really excited and they're like, this is the project, this is the process. We're starting to move up now. We're really excited about potentially, I say potentially, being in the Champions League next season. And then there's other fans that are still very pessimistic, still a lot of doubts. What's the ceiling with Arteta? What's the ceiling with these young players? How good are they really playing once a week? Me and Toby were just looking at the group chat of yesterday, I believe. Lee Gunner, a regular. I know you've done some content with him recently as well. He was like, we don't even want them in the Champions League next year because I just don't see us competing because we could get slapped up to Bayern, slapped up to Real Madrid. How do you feel like with these extremes of just like maybe overexcitement and then maybe like a lot of pessimism as well in the fan base? How are you feeling right now?
Yeah, I don't think it's overexcitement. I think it's good to see Arsenal winning games of football. It's like any team, you know what I mean? It's good to see win, but what's happened is, and I think that's the fundamental thing that's improved at Arsenal is defensively. We're a much better defensive side now. We've got 2 decent central defenders now. You know, we haven't had that for a very, very long while. Now, these 2 central defenders we've got now, people criticise Ben White like that. They're not criticising him now. You know what I mean? He's been outstanding. But what also they've got in front of them now is a proper midfield player protecting them. Now, you go back to the great Arsenal sides, you know, the Invincibles and whatever. They had good central defenders. Not what I would say. Well, you know, Sol Campbell was a world class central defender. Kolo Toure was a decent central defender. People like Matthew Upson going in front, you know, coming at there. But what they had in front of it, Gilberto, Patrick Vieira, Edu. You know what I mean? That makes a massive difference. Now all of a sudden we've got 2 decent central defenders and they've got someone decent in Thomas Partey in front of them. And we're now seeing out games. Now, as I said about the Spurs game last against Man United, like, you know, we was doing that, what they were doing, conceding sloppy goals when you're in the incentives, when you're looking like you may go on and win the game, and then you concede a goal and end up losing the game. Arsenal are not doing that now. There's a defensive structure, there's a base for us to kick on and play from, and that's been very, very good. Listen, you're always going to get in the fan base fragments of whatever. Like, I don't know why. Listen, it's been at Arsenal for a very, very long while. They've always had it. It's always been there. Now, you know, when people turn around and say, "Look, we don't want to get into Champions League because we don't know we're going to compete and all that," we don't know what we're going to sign. You know what I mean? Let's see what we sign before you say things like that. Now, ultimately, the last couple of years, the Champions League's been at its poorest. And I mean that with like the likes of the team. When we was in it a few years ago, they had the cream of Barcelona, as they was unbelievable, Real Madrid, Bayern Munich. I watch it now. You've got Manchester City and Liverpool. One of them or Chelsea will win it. The Real Madrids are not quite as good. The Barcelonas are certainly not quite as good. And you know, PSG were awful the other night. Ultimately, though, they're all starting, just as Arsenal starting to get going again. All these teams are starting to kick in with their financial thing. So it's going to be very, very difficult. You know, Dan makes a great point. It's no good getting into the top four, getting into the Champions League and then coming back sixth again. You've got to really kick on. And the way you kick on is getting good players. No secret, guys, that Arsenal are doing well this season because they've improved the squad of players. The players are better. The central defenders are better than what we've had in the past. Smith Rowe is better than what we've had in the past. We've got exciting young players. Now, that is something for me as a fan of Arsenal for a long while. It always been very, very, you know, like back the younger players coming through. Arsenal have always done that, you know what I mean? Like, as big as a club we have, we've always had youngsters come through all the way through from when I started following them to when we've won things. There's always been academy players coming through. That's what we've got now. You know, Saka is like a terrific player, but you're going to back him a little bit more than probably somebody else if it's not. You know, there's the connections there. The same with Smith Rowe. Martinelli is not a player of that, but he comes to us when he was very, very young. And so we've got players coming through the ranks. And I think that the one thing is that we're a very, very young team. And I think that what Mikel's done very, very well, which is probably forgotten about that, we've built it with some English players as well. And I think that's, if you look back at teams that we've won in the past, there's always been that English core of players. And that is important because, do you know what? They know what it's like to play for Arsenal. They know what it's like to be in the Premier League. They know they're not dreaming of playing for Real Madrids and Barcelonas like the foreign players are. They're dreaming of playing for the Arsenals, Tottenhams, Man Uniteds, West Ham. We're going to say West Ham's as well. Like,
someone's dreaming of playing for Tottenham. Are we sure about that?
Well, but listen, you know, Spurs, yeah, because you look at, you know, Spurs have got it with Harry Kane has come through the ranks and whatever. They've got a nice stadium, Spurs. You can't knock that. You know what I mean? You have to say it how it is. So that, you know,
but is that the Arsenal fan, Harry Kane?
Yeah,
the one that put the statement out last.
Yeah. By Arsenal, so you know that's our fault. You know what I mean? Like, it wasn't good enough for our academy. Proved wrong there. So you know, and listen, that happens in football all the time. Players come and get in there, and you know, he's a Tottenham man now, and that's how it is. Like, you know, but yeah, and I think that there is, like, listen, I'm going to be really honest. I've been going to Arsenal away games for a long, long while. There was a time when it was toxic in the away end. You know, I thought, this ain't great. Arguing between whether it be a TV channel or Arsene Wenger, or, you know what I mean, if you like this player or you don't like, and then Emery come in, whether you like Emery. There's been fractions, and I can tell you, like, you'd have arguments. I remember going to a game and, you know, had to pull away a couple of people fighting over, you know, whether they thought Theo Walcott was good enough for Arsenal and things like that. And it was getting a little bit like, do you know what? I'm not really enjoying going away from home. It was getting like that. Yeah. Now, going to the game against Villa, it's back to where it was 10, 15 years ago. Before, you know, when we was winning, it was great, you know. And listen, it's never, Arsenal have not always been winners and winning things, you know what I mean? Like, I remember going, like, in the George Graham era when we was building into the sort of team that we was then, but the atmosphere was great. You go away from home as a bunch of away fans, and you don't take liberties, but, you know, this is, you know, we're Arsenal, we're West Ham, we're Spurs, we're together. There wasn't that at Arsenal, but going against Villa, like, you know, was everybody was together. Everybody was singing from the same page. Everybody, you know, and there has been a little fraction of it, guys, where people are going, does he really want Arsenal to win? Does he really want Arsenal to lose here and all that? Like, you know what I mean? That sort of thing. Not on Saturday. It was great. Going back into the city after the game, because it was a 12:30 kickoff, people in the pubs all high-fiving each other, talking about the game. That's what you want. You know, even Aston Villa fans talking about it, proud to talk about a game where it was a little bit fractional, a little bit, you know, it was a little bit nasty at times in the way. I don't know if Spurs have had that or West Ham have had that over in the past. I don't know, but we certainly did have that. But it's back now to a nice family unit, and you know, coming back on the train. You know, and I don't know if you've been, must have been. You get on at Whitton, it takes you back into the city centre, 2 or 3 stops. You know, the whole carriages were singing Arsenal songs. That's what you want. You don't want to be sitting there saying, "Oh, I'm afraid to say something," just in case someone's going to argue with you and whatever, like, you know. So it's, the atmosphere is back. Credit to Mikel Arteta and the players for doing that.
Yeah, the mood is better.
Do you know what? Yeah, I have to say, and someone clipped me and Toby up on this on Twitter weeks ago, where we literally was laughing our heads off at your transfer business at the start of the season because you'd signed Ramsdale. I think the Ramsdale news broke on this show, and we were cracking up. But I hold my hands up. Your transfer business, I thought you guys were literally affirming yourselves in that 8th, 7th position with the transfer business you've done. But it actually worked out, and some serious scouting must have been done because I didn't see it coming. I didn't know Ramsdale. I mean, yes, he played for a progressive Sheffield United team under Wilder when they were doing well in the mid-table part before they got relegated the season after. But I didn't see Ramsdale coming along and being not only Arsenal's #1, but now England has to be benching Pickford immediately as soon as possible. Your transfer business is, you know, it's put you in this position as well. And I have to say, I have to talk about a certain player in Saka because what he's doing right now, he is seriously, and I know Toby's smiling because he's got this affiliation with this word star boy. He doesn't like the star boy word because he doesn't have any star boys of his own.
I'm not going to say
Scarlet.
Listen,
I'm not going to say a thing, bro.
It's great that we've got that. You know, like West Ham have got it with Declan Rice. You know, it does. You know, when you've got one of your own players coming through, it's great. But when he's one of the best players in the Premier League in his position, it's even better. You know what I mean? Like, and that's, you know, I don't care what anybody said. I don't care. He's 20 years of age. He is one of the best players I've seen at that age playing. You know what I mean? I watch him and I thought, wow, he's just a great player. Listen, we can talk about Harry Kane because he's come through the ranks at Tottenham and all that. Wonderful player, you know. Spurs fans, you can see why they're going it. Same with Declan Rice. I watched Declan Rice yesterday. Didn't probably play as well as he has done in the last few games, but he's a quality player. And you pin your hopes on it, and we've got that with Saka. There's no two ways about that, you know. And it's great to have the signings this season. I don't think anybody can really turn around. I don't care if you're the staunchest Arsenal fan in the world. Turn around and said that. Listen, fans never really moaned about the actual signing of Ramsdale, and I think that's got to be said. It was more like we're spending £30 million on a goalkeeper that maybe necessarily we didn't need when we needed in other areas. It's just been a revelation. I'm going to say it now: if England are going to go and do well in the World Cup and whatever in the next year, he's got to now come in. I just think he's the best goalkeeper in England. I really do. And that's not me being biased. Would I have said that at the beginning of the season? No, I wouldn't have. Like, you know, I mean, I'll be honest. But every one of them has really come in. Like the mainstays of it all. Ben White has just got better and better as the season's gone on. You know, and it's good that they're English players as well. Saka, Smith Rowe. You know, I'm a big fan of Matty Cash. I really like him going forward for Aston Villa.
Yeah.
Couldn't do it against us because, you know, he was afraid of what Smith Rowe was going to do to him, and that was without Martinelli's pace. So Arsenal have got some very, very good young players. I still think that we're 2 or 3 players short of even contemplating getting to Chelsea's level, and then, you know, dare I say it, the other 2 who I think are the bar is slightly more raised with them 2, you know, and when you think about it, Chelsea's going to be hard enough to get to the bar. So, yeah, at the moment, you know, there's some good things at Arsenal. And, you know, Saka, it gets to the stage, we've got England friendlies now. There was a couple of months ago, I wanted him to play in England friendlies because I wanted him to establish himself in England, sort of thing.
Yeah.
Like, don't play in these friendlies now. Just
look after him now. I mean, do you know what? Yeah, I've been given credit, and Toby has as well on Arsenal. They've been very resilient over the last few years. 1-0 against Villa, the games against Wolves, not easy games, kind of getting, you know, a lot of pressure in the last 15, 20 minutes, but they've managed to ride through it and get the points, and that's all that matters. Before we move to Chelsea, Dan, obviously Arsenal have got this striker crisis right now. Aubameyang goes in January. Everybody says, why didn't you replace him? Now Aubameyang smashing in goals in El Clasico. But I'm just looking at that and saying, do you know what? He just needed a fresh environment. He's gone over there, new challenge, new group of people to prove himself to, and he's doing well. I don't see that as something where Arsenal should regret letting him go, because I feel like it was the right time and they needed to cleanse the situation a little bit. So I don't even see that as a regret. But Lacazette's been obviously pivotal. We spoke about it a bit last week on the show as well, in terms of like him dropping off, creating opportunities for the ones around him, assists and whatnot. But he's going to be running out of contract. And Nketiah's running out of contract. You see how the way forwards are going, yeah? The way forwards are going at the moment. What kind of striker do you think Arsenal should be looking at to spearhead their attack? Because there seems to be number 9s, and then there's your, you know, more unconventional false 9s and etc. What kind of guy would you put up there if you was looking at it?
They need a striker as well. So
yeah, we need a striker.
you do.
Strikers for West Ham, let alone Arsenal.
Yeah. Are you in the same market for strikers if you win the Europa League?
Yeah, I mean, if we win Europa League, yeah, who knows? You know, it's one of them, isn't it? Like, we'll be knows.
Toby, does Toby not feel like you have a chance of winning it? I've seen the teams left.
Now. What was it then last?
Yeah, you said, it's gone from 0 to 20% chance of winning it. Like, come on, 20%. He's having a bit of a U-turn there. He said, no,
yeah, see, there was no chance of beating Seville. I remember him saying,
yeah, a few days later, 20%.
Still won't win it, Lido. They still won't win it.
Well, they're going to come up against an informed Barcelona, aren't they? In the next semi-final.
If they beat Leon,
I think they beat Leon. I really do.
You think they will? Yeah.
Yeah, I do. I think they will, and I hope they do. Two reasons for that.
I hope they don't. I hope Ndombele dunks on Souček.
In the league, not doing well this season.
Mate. The guy, the Ndombele that weren't good enough for Spurs, but you said was better than Souček. Yeah, that guy.
He's better than Souček.
Where did this whole Benton call versus Souček thing come from?
No, it's because we did a combined 11, and Dan tried to pretend as if Souček is a good player. I'm like, just because
is he not a good player?
No, he isn't a good player. He's not a bad player, but he's not a good one either.
How can you say he's not good? How can you say he's not
a good player? What's your so as a midfielder in the Premier League, Matisse? Do you think that Souček is good enough to even make Chelsea's bench?
No, but I think midfield is a strong suit for us. I think we do have a very good midfield. It's not balanced, but we have a very good midfield.
But Matisse, what I'm asking you is the fundamental.
But I think he would make your team. I think you would make your. I think you would
Who's starting ahead of?
Who's your starting midfield three?
Højbjerg for a start.
Yeah, Højbjerg's been awful recently, but
yeah, he has been. But I don't rate. What do you think Souček would do when we ask him to play with the ball? Our biggest issue with Højbjerg is what he does when he's in possession.
But you guys are better. If anything, you guys are better as a counter-attacking team anyway. So maybe you don't need to have the ball as much as.
It's not that we're better as a counter-attacking team. We don't have the players to play a possession-based game.
So then don't play possession. Don't play possession. Then.
No. We used to have the players to play possession-based. We're trying to become a team that plays.
Why? You're not good at it. Just don't do it.
What do you mean? Because we don't have the players for it. We need to get to it. That's
just be the Atletico Madrid of this country, bro.
No. That's winning. The teams who win are playing that way. When we were at our best, we were playing that way. That's where we need to.
They didn't bring any trophies. This is my thing with Tottenham is you're always focused on trying to play a certain brand, the Tottenham way, or whatever it was that Pochettino.
No. You've mentioned.
Why don't you be that team that nobody wants to face? Why don't you be that team?
I've not mentioned a Tottenham way. I've just told you the teams that are winning play this way. You play this way. Man City play this way. Liverpool play this way. Bayern Munich plays this way. The teams that are winning competitions, they play this brand of football. Even West Ham, they've transitioned from a team who are direct, set-piece FC to a team who are actually playing football on the ground now. Yes or no? So it's not a Tottenham way thing. It's just
with Souček in the team, by the way.
And what does he do with the ball at his feet?
Listen, he makes the right pass.
What does he do with the ball at his feet?
Pass
That's what I'm asking, bro. You keep talking as if what I'm saying is rubbish. The standard, and no disrespect here, but what I'm looking for from my central midfielder, Souček cannot do. So when you're telling me that Souček will start at Spurs,
but he have Rice
there. Saying that because oh yeah, he's better. He's probably I don't know, like more effective in for West Ham than Harry Winks is for Spurs. But I promise you, if I give Souček the ball for 90 minutes and say, bro, I need this, you're playing up against a deep block, I need you to play progressive passes in a double pivot, he will struggle. He will struggle, bro. That's what we want. That's what we need Højbjerg to do.
But listen, there's no point us having two carbon copy players next to each other. Like Souček and Rice complement each other because they both have different attributes.
I'm not saying they don't complement each other, but that doesn't mean that Souček in his own right is a good player. It doesn't.
I just personally feel, and no disrespect,
it doesn't mean he's a good player. It's like
Tottenham trying to.
But look, Højbjerg is complimenting Bentancur now, but I don't rate Højbjerg as much as I did last year. And when I'm watching him in this system, where he gets more of the ball, it's clear to see that he's a limited player. Just because he's playing,
it hasn't been a revelation though. That fella you just meant, what's his name, Benny whatever.
Benny.
Benny. We got Ben to left. We got Benny. Everybody's disrespected this.
But Lee, I never said one. He's been
a year and a half.
He's been a very good player. He's been a very good signing so far. And two, even if he hadn't signed for Spurs, I'd be saying the same, that he's better than Højbjerg and he's better than Souček. That is not an inaccurate statement. I'm sorry.
You're saying that now, but you thought Højbjerg was amazing last year, and now all of a sudden it's going to be the same with Bentancur. You're getting gassed on him because he's a new signing. Yeah, because he's gassed on him.
I wouldn't.
You do have a habit of this, Toby. I'm not gonna lie. You do have a habit.
He looked good. He looked very good yesterday, very composed. But I don't see how you can turn around and say after 3 or 4 games he's better than Souček, who's been playing a year and a half.
I'm not saying after 3 or 4 games. I'm saying styles. Bentancur is quite clearly a better midfielder than Souček. It's styles. It's like styles. Let me give you another example. Let me just think of central midfielders. Think of any like Kakaré for Lyon or something like that. Would it be outlandish for me to say that someone like him or Bruno Guimaraes, they're better central midfielders than Souček? Why is it an outlandish statement to make?
Yeah, but this is what I'm saying. Why is one style better than the other? You're talking about style.
I never said one style is better than the other. I'm saying Souček is limited. That's what I'm saying to you.
If he was playing a best 11, it's out of him and Declan Rice that plays in that role. There's only one winner there.
What role? What's that?
If you was to play a combined side, you ain't going to put Declan Rice. They play the same sort of position. So you're going to go Declan Rice or what's his name? Ben what?
Bentancur, is it?
Bentancur. Learn his name. Learn his name. Yeah.
I don't really want to.
He wants some respect on Bentancur's name.
If he's back in Italy this time next season, right?
Is that a permanent signing? Is it a loan?
It's a permanent signing, but the thing is that, like, fair enough, Matisse, I find it hilarious that
I'm being serious because
I find it hilarious that you were trying to agree with
because
that.
You guys want to. You guys, I think Tottenham. No, because I think you aspire to be too much too soon. You need to focus on winning a cup. You need to focus on winning a trophy. Why are you talking?
What's going to take us to win?
You just told Dan not to chat to you in a certain way. Let me tell you how not to chat to the top teams. Why are you trying to focus on Manchester City and Liverpool and Bayern Munich's brand of football when you are yet to secure a trophy since 2008? Go down the shithousery route as you can still do it right now, and you have the manager that suits it as well. Conte is not a manager that you bring in to say, oh, we want to play a certain style of football.
You're talking rubbish.
He's very pragmatic. He can work with a little bit more.
You're talking rubbish. You know why you're talking rubbish? You know why you're talking rubbish? Because even at your club, he wasn't even a pragmatist at your club. Chelsea weren't even playing counter-attacking football for the majority of the season. They scored. Chelsea were the second highest.
It depended on the match. I can tell you many games where Conte played atrocious football.
I'm going by the majority. I'm going by the majority and not the minority.
We have better players than you, Toby.
But that's my point.
But how long is that going to take? How long is that going to take? You just spoke about that.
I'm
not bringing in the players you need.
I'm not
you want to change your whole philosophy at the football club. You don't have the players for it.
I'm not going to get into this because what you're saying doesn't make any sense, and I think you know what you're saying doesn't.
No,
make any sense.
I know what I'm saying does make sense. You don't have
The
Cesc Fabregas. You don't have Nemanja Matic.
The point I'm making with Souček, it isn't new. I said the same thing last season, even when he was scoring all these goals to that. I said the same thing.
But Toby,
I
don't understand.
I said, yeah, he scores the headers. He's got decent movement in the box, but as a midfielder, when he's doing his job in the middle third of the pitch, I don't think he's good. It doesn't mean he's bad. I never said he's bad. I think he's okay, and he's effective for West Ham when he's on it. But I don't think this is a good midfielder. I can't take Souček out of West Ham's team, put him into any other team, and say, oh yeah, you're gonna thrive. I don't think he's good. When I look at the best midfielders in the Premier League, there are so many midfielders in this league better than Souček. And I'm not going to let West Ham's position or his combination with Declan Rice fool me into thinking otherwise. I'm not.
But you're acting like he weren't good for Slavia Prague. You know what I mean? As well, when it's on, he beat Sevilla then. He beat Sevilla then.
You think I'm watching Slavia Prague games?
I'm just saying. Czech Republic.
You hear what the guy's saying? As if you didn't even know he existed before West Ham scouted him. You didn't even know this guy existed.
I'm saying he has a history. He has history. His history don't start when he gets to the Premier League.
Nah, you're fucking hilarious. Man said Slavia Prague. So where are you watching these Slavia Prague games, Dan?
Premier Sports.
Yeah. I'm just saying, innit? He has history. They got that
Czech stakeholder, man.
Yeah, he has history. Listen, I would understand the energy if I said Souček is rubbish. Like, I think that's a crazy statement to make. I don't think he is a rubbish player, but Souček is a limited central midfielder. He's not a multi-purpose central midfielder. There are so many midfielders in the Premier League better than him. West Ham are higher than Wolves, for instance. Yeah. And his partnership has bared more fruit than, I don't know, Moutinho and Neves. But you wouldn't dare say that Souček is a better midfielder than Moutinho. You wouldn't dare say he's a better midfielder than Neves, because it's not true. And they're different styles, but he just isn't a better midfielder. It's the same for Basuma. It's the same for I can keep going.
But Tobs, it's all pointless chat, because at the end of the day, you signed the player that fits your team, that is going to do the best for your team.
And he's doing a job for your team. But I'm saying,
need a target man, you get a target man.
I just personally run it back to, I'm not sure why Tottenham fans would be so concerned about style of play. I don't think that should be your main concern right now. But that's just me. That's just me. I would rather win any way means possible. I don't give a shit how it happens. And even if
it's pride.
Because let's be real, Tottenham are not going to win a Premier League title over the next 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 years. So I would prefer to win a cup competition, playing unattractive football. And it's not even, I wouldn't even say unattractive. I would just say in a pragmatic way. Because you just said that West Ham are not playing the worst brand of football this season. They're playing decent football.
What are you talking about?
They're not playing the worst brand of football. They're not playing the worst brand of football.
I never said West Ham are playing a worst brand of football. You just made that up out of nowhere. What I've said to you specifically, I said,
is that you wouldn't want him because of the certain style you would want.
I said I wouldn't want him because he's a limited player, bro. Even if we wanted to play a counter-attacking based game, I don't trust Souček to be that guy in transition to make the right passes 8 out of 10 times. It's not just about transition or playing on the front foot. He's a limited midfielder, bro. He's not that good. I've got so many midfielders in our team who are not that good. Why would I want another one? It's nothing to do with playing counter-attacking football or whatever. He's just not that good.
Damn.
And when you're and the point about the point around the football point, how can you dismiss that? It's not about playing the Spursy way or whatever, or this, that, and the third. Possession-based sides who play with a decent press are winning. That's winning.
I hear that, but not everybody can play with. Not everybody can play possession. There's 2 teams on a football pitch. Not both teams can have possession.
Of course. And where have I said that I don't? Where have I said I wouldn't accept Spurs winning? Playing transition-based game. Where have I said that?
I'm just saying it sounded like as if you were going down the direction of you want a certain playing style. That's why you were disregarding Souček. Okay.
I'm telling you what is working for most teams, and you're telling me, oh no, you're dismissing to another style. I'm not dismissing to another style. We've been playing transition football for 2 years. What have we won?
If we do the
at
whole
least
what
we won.
have you won question, I'll be here.
That brand of football is not working for Everton, though, is it?
What have we won?
The what have you won question is very difficult to always answer.
Okay then.
They won the Audi Cup, damn.
But to answer your question,
Arsenal were a transition-based side before, initially under Arteta. They're now a possession-based team. Which side do you think looks better?
Well, one team won the FA Cup. One team.
Which side is accumulating more points? Which side?
One team's won the FA Cup. One team. It depends what you value, isn't it?
Oh, really? Okay, so
team's
Lee,
going
right
for,
now,
I always ask you, do you value more
that
trophy
won the
or top
FA
four?
Cup with Mikel Arteta or the current team right now with no trophy?
That's a good question, I guess.
They're still not playing at all and out attacking football.
It's not a good question because there's only one answer.
It depends what you value. We had this discussion in the show before. Do you value a trophy or do you value top four?
It's not about what I value. They are simply a much better side right now.
Yeah, but they won that FA Cup based on that style of play. If they tried to outplay Chelsea or outplay some of the other teams in the FA, maybe they would have lost. Exactly. So
Lee said it earlier, Tom.
You're not going to tell them they're not going to go to Man City and outplay them. I'm sorry, it's not going to happen.
I'm not saying, bro. I'm not saying.
But that's what I'm saying to you, Toby.
I'm saying that Arsenal. I'm saying your point doesn't make sense because Arsenal are quite clearly a much better side. I don't know why you're doing this. They're a much better side. Yes, they won the trophy. Just because they won a trophy back then does not mean that way of playing is always going to be successful. They played a similar style for the first half of last year. Where did it get there?
Well, what it will do, Toby, is take pressure off Tottenham. There is pressure on Tottenham winning something every year now. The longer it goes on, the more pressure it's going to be, and the more it's weighing you down. So you're going to have to make a decision. Listen, and winning a trophy is not easy, by the way, when you've got the likes of Man City and Liverpool in there. Just look at the domestic side of it at the moment. Liverpool or Man City are going to be in the final. Liverpool won the cup. Chelsea were in that final. You're not going to win the league. So it's really, really tough to even think that, whatever style of football you're going to play, you're going to win it. The fact of the matter is when you get into that opportunity to win it, you've got to take that chance. Arsenal took it, by beating Man City and then by beating Chelsea. Probably not playing the way we play now, but we got it done. What that does, Tobe, then, and trust me when I say this because it's experience, it takes the pressure off of for a couple of years at least because you've won. Man United now, and no disrespect to Tottenham, haven't won nothing for 5 years. The wait for them to win something now is going to be a massive, massive pressure on them because Man United going 5 years without a trophy is a big. I think it's the first time for a very, very long while they've gone this long.
I hear it.
Pressure.
I get it, Lee. The main point that kicked off all of this and this Souček talk is fundamentally if Spurs are going to get better, they just need to sign good players, good players.
You need good players.
Exactly, and that's the point I'm making. Arsenal went from A to B because they started, like you said on this stream, Arsenal simply just started adding better players to their first 11. So I
will say this. I will say this at this moment in time, out of the three teams, West Ham were probably the better out of all three. The reason that they're not challenging now is because they haven't got the squad for it. If they was just playing in the one game like we were, I think they've got very, very good. This is a team, by the way, that's beaten Liverpool. Gone up to Anfield and give it a good go. Beaten Spurs, you know what I mean?
Pushed Man City as well.
So this is a team that, I don't think you should be disrespecting them. I think that they've got good players and they've got a good coach and a work ethic that suits them and the way they play. And Souček suits the way that West Ham play. That's how I look at it, and that's what I see.
Our improvement came after Souček because we signed Souček in that January, was in a relegation battle.
Yes.
Signed Souček after that January. West Ham, we ended that season so strong, and that continued into last season since we signed Souček. So we have to give Souček a lot of credit for our improvement because Declan Rice has been here for years. And adding Souček alongside Declan Rice was huge for us, man. And you can't, but he's not a high, and I said this to you, Tobs, he's not a highlight reel player, right? You're not going to look at him and go, wow, look at that. He's just not made the player. He's not that. But what he does is very effective.
I've not disrespected West Ham. I never said West Ham are a poor side. I think I've said this on Lee. We did that show with Robbie a couple a couple months back where I literally said, in terms of completeness, I think West Ham are more.
Yeah, that's what I remember.
I think they're set in their way. They have a set way of playing and a cohesive system. We have too many mismatched, too many like players that don't really gel, that come in and out of our first 11, and we're only now starting to find a rhythm. And I agree that if West Ham weren't in European competition, 1000%, they'd be pushing us. They'd be pushing us closer, or probably even competing neck and neck with us. They finished above us last year, so that's not what I'm trying to say. All I'm saying is, Souček specifically, if Spurs are trying to get from A to B, and we're in a position now where the level is not so high, why would I then want someone like Souček?
Fair enough. The last part of the show, I want to pivot to Chelsea just quickly, because all the Premier League clubs seem to be pretty pissed with the way this whole, I don't know, takeover situation is going, with the debt being written off and potentially then whoever buys Chelsea, they feel like it's unfair. Maybe points should be doxed. I kind of wanted to get, before we wrap up, a rival's view of this whole situation with Chelsea in terms of change of ownership, money in football, because obviously your teams maybe, well, they're definitely not backed by, you know, City's ownership, Newcastle, potentially Chelsea if they were to be taken over by the Saudi media group. I'll start with Lee. How do you see like this amount of money in football and potentially Chelsea's situation right now? How do you view it as a rival like fan? Do you feel bad for Chelsea maybe not being able to have, like, what parts do you feel bad for Chelsea fans where they can't go to the games, or which parts do you not care? Like, oh, you ain't got no money, you're broke.
You know what? I'm going to be really honest. I've got to say this. I don't care about Chelsea. I don't really care about their fans. Good, whatever happens to them, like, you know, listen, they've had 19 bloody great years that they had no right to have, and never would have had if it weren't for the owner coming in. Listen, he has done something that no other club has ever done apart from Blackburn Rovers with Jack Walker. Jack Walker was the same sort of thing on a different scale at that time, just with his own finances, just bought that, won the title, fantastic for 2 or 3 years. When he pulled out, we're at Blackburn now. And that is what will happen to Chelsea. I think an owner will come in with Chelsea, but they won't be saying, right, we're £50 million down this time, right? Okay, I'll put my own 50 million. I think what will happen is that they go, oh, we've lost that. We're going to have to sell so and so, just like Arsenal have to do, just like West Ham have had to do, just like every other football club has had to do. They're going to have to balance their books, and that's where I see Chelsea. They don't even know what the balance of the books means for 19 years. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't work with Tino Werner. I'll tell you what, we're bringing Lukaku. Doesn't work with Lukaku, we're bringing somebody else. We do this, do that. They've had it fantastic for 19 years. Good luck to that. I don't begrudge it. You know what I mean? Well, I do. But like, at the end of it, you know, it's what it is. But for me, Chelsea will come back into the pack now and be like everybody else, doing what they're doing. They ain't going to be relegated. They're not going to be down at the bottom of the league. They're going to be in and around. They're going to be run exactly the same as Arsenal, exactly the same as West Ham, exactly the same as Tottenham. And that's how it's going to be. And they will still compete. But ultimately, I think the serial winners of the Premier League and those days will be gone. I really do. Because he's a one-off, wasn't he? I don't care what anybody says. You know what I mean? Like, he's written off. By the way, he's loaned them 1.5 billion before all this happened with the war and everything. 1.5 billion. Do you imagine if Tottenham's owner give them 1.5? God forbid if he give them 1.5 billion. God forbid if he give Arsenal 1.5 billion. He has done that, and that is why the wheels of the glory train have continued to go with Chelsea. They've now ground to a halt. You've come to your station. Get off the train and get back into the normal world.
I like that analogy, I can't lie. Dan, how do you feel about it as a West Ham fan? Are you enjoying Chelsea's potential demise? I say potential because we don't know who the new ownership would be. A lot of Chelsea fans are starting to tell me actually they don't mind going with a self-sustainable model with an American group. It just depends on who you get, whether it's Kroenke, whether it's the Glazers, or maybe whether it's FSG. All three are very different and run their clubs very differently. But obviously the stadium, unlike the three of you, actually, you guys have all got 60,000 capacity for all of you guys, isn't it? West Ham 60. I think you brought it down a bit, isn't it? Just in terms of scale, but you still have that 60,000.
Yeah, 60. We're trying to push it to 62. I think we're trying to get that increase to 62. But, yeah.
Oh, just is that just to
be the biggest in London? That's what they want. They want to be.
They want to do the advertising. Yeah. The advertising
biggest ground in London.
Because obviously Chelsea are ridiculously small. I've said it so often. I think the stadium capacity is the biggest hindrance for Chelsea right now. It stops us from being able to bring in the revenue that you guys can bring in. But where do you see Chelsea right now, Dan, in terms of the whole thing?
Yeah, obviously I've been enjoying just the humor of like, Chelsea can't afford to fly. They got to get a coach up here. They can't afford just the meat. That's all been fine. But I've never bought into the demise of Chelsea. I haven't allowed myself to get carried away. I know a lot of people are like, oh yeah, they're going to get relegated. This is going to happen. I honestly can see, look, if this Saudi group do take over, if it is the Saudi group that we're hearing about, I see it business as usual for Chelsea, maybe even pushing on even more. Because if you look at it, if they're coming in, these Saudis, right, they're going to have more money than Roman. If they've got the ambition that we're hearing that they have, and this geezer's a Chelsea fan, this, that, and the other, they're not taking over a Man City that have been up and down from relegation and then trying to build a long-term project. They're taking over a team that won the Champions League last season. So it's not like they're going to have to come in and try and build this club up and then, get Mark Hughes as the manager and all of this stuff. And, if Tuchel stays, they can keep the core group of players. It all depends on that transitional period. That transition and that sale has to happen as soon as possible and very smooth. And Chelsea are a very well-desired club. And if it is a Saudi, I honestly think Chelsea are going to be a big problem in the league, and will just cement themselves as I'll probably overtaking Liverpool, and we'll start to see a Chelsea Man City. Because if they're looking to really splash down money, like we've seen, like the Newcastle owners, then they have no problems about spending money. Man City have no problems about spending money. If they're on the same mindset, Chelsea, mate, honestly, you could be even better, because they might go and Man City, take the money aside, Man City are a very well-run club. I think a very, very well-run club. They get in a good manager, they buy into his vision, they back him, they get who he wants. Whereas Chelsea have been backed by sort of Roman's pure passion, but it's always felt a little bit unstable. Like the slightest thing can, the manager's sacked. Everything's sort of rash because the way it's run. But if you get someone in with a good mind, they appoint the right people in charge. I can't see this is all with some buts. If you get some Americans, like Lee said, you might end up just joining the pack and being one of these teams competing for the top four. Maybe a good season here and there, win an FA Cup here. But if you get the Saudis, mate, I think you're going to be even more successful than you have been. It's going to be a big problem.
Yeah, I'm going to take Chelsea out of the question for Toby, because I already know his passion and hate for Chelsea anyway. But Toby, when you look at Newcastle, City, potentially Chelsea, and then you look at the rest of the maybe spending power. For me, Man United, I'll throw them in there as well, because they've been spending stupid money over the last few years. People don't talk about it, but they're just as big a spenders as anybody. Do you begrudge that? Do you not like that from the other clubs, or do you just be like, we need to get a new owner other than Daniel Levy, and we need to match that? Or how do you approach the situation as a team that doesn't have a lot of money? Are you what's your mindset with it?
Get your money up. Get your money up. I don't have an issue. I don't have an issue with these teams spending money. I just don't like when these teams spend money and pretend like they're paupers, or they try and that humble, or we turn the profit, all of this bullshit. Fuck off, man. I hate that. I hate that rubbish. If you're gonna spend it with your chest. There is no issue with having football there's no issue in having money in football. You've got the advantage, use it. Use it to your advantage. And some of these teams, they've used it to their advantage. It's just annoying for teams like us, where we're trying to be self-sustainable and stuff. But listen, we all know in football what it takes to win. It's money. You need. Very rarely do you see teams win these leagues and they're not like the highest spenders and stuff like that. It's typically the team that spends with the right structure in place, like Dan mentioned. If you spend well with the right structure in place, you'll win. You'll actually win. So that's my take on these teams spending money. And not as we've seen, well, we're only talking about the positives. We've seen the negatives of teams who spend money and don't spend it wisely, like Everton.
Everton, yeah.
Tons of money, and now look at them. They're crippled by financial fair play, and they can't really invest in their team, and they're at risk of going down. Even you, Chelsea, it's fair to say that you lot have spunked money up the wall.
Oh yeah,
over the years, and it's not worked out in your favor. Even us, when we spent big, our biggest signings have all been flops, bar maybe one, and it's early stages for him. So money doesn't automatically equal success. I think it's how you spend your money and the people you put in place to manage that continual spend is what matters the most. So me personally, I don't see an issue with spending rich clubs spending their money.
And the fact is, you could have got Roman Abramovich. He almost bought Spurs, and how different things would have. Imagine how different everything would have been. The dynamic. You'd be sitting there with Champions Leagues, Premier Leagues. You'd be giving it to Lee and me, and we and obviously Matisse. We couldn't chat to you.
Yeah.
But
Toby would have been like, Chunks, life's changed. Do you know what I'm saying?
But the thing is, we can still chat to Matisse because he's still a nerd, so we can still.
Yeah.
That's all you got.
You could try. I'll take out my pen and pad.
We got him on tape saying, a lot of mad things about some of his plays, so we got him on that as well.
Yeah, we got you on tape as well, saying some mad things about Doherty. So it's
that's fine. That's fine.
Tobes, right now you're looking like the meme with the, he's got the mask and it's all smiley, but behind it's the tears.
Yeah, it is. Oh my God!
You saying that after that defeat yesterday?
I'm not gonna lie.
He was crying on his watch along. Oh, they didn't deserve to win that. Oh, I hate Son. All morning, Dan's been bitching and moaning about how such a nasty player Son is.
He's a cheat.
No, he is. Toby, the ball was kicked at him and he fell to the ground like he'd been shot. It was embarrassing.
Are you not embarrassed?
Are you not embarrassed? Quick question.
I'm not disputing that, but I don't care. We won.
You don't care.
He tried to get a free kick off the ref, man. He bumped into the ref and was like...
Matisse, they've got this... And Lee, were you watching the game as well yesterday?
I did see it, yeah. I did see it.
Yeah, so do you remember that there was a bit, where... I can't remember what was the ref? Who was the ref yesterday? I can't remember.
Anthony Taylor, I think.
Anthony Taylor. Yeah. I think Kulusevski or whoever it is has rolled a ball that Son's basically going to run up to and hit, and the referee's standing right there. He's looking at the ball. He's running towards the ball. He's not even seen the referee, and he runs into the referee. The ref doesn't even pull playback or anything like that. He just lets West Ham continue and take the ball.
The idiot
and then Dan has it. So West Ham had the advantage, and then Dan has the cheek to say that Son intentionally ran into the referee so he could get.
Even if what I'm saying is, I'm not saying he intentionally. I said
no. That's what you said. That's what you
at the time. At the time, but now I've looked back. Even if he does it by accident, the idiot bumps into the ref and then puts his hands out to try and get a free kick. It's like what?
Yeah, because the referee obstructed the opportunity.
You can't run into the ref. You can't run into the ref.
You can't run. The ref was in the way. The ref is in the way.
The ref was reffing.
The ref was reffing.
Referees normally move out the way when the ball is in play. The referees move out the way.
And I tell you what, Son is an embarrassment. But if there's any player I want to slap, it's Reguilon. What a piece of filth. That geezer is the most dislikable, disgusting player I've ever seen. Whinging, crying, falling over and going, and smacking the ground. And what a baby, mate.
Tell me more, man.
Oh, God. Your man's rivalry runs so much deeper than...
fucking celebration for Antonio yesterday, was there? You twat.
Europa League, mate.
Listen.
You was playing in Brighton on Thursday. We was playing...
I don't even have anything against Antonio, because I think outside of West Ham, I got a lot of time for him. But hold that, you fucking pussy. He's always trying to score against Spurs. Hold that, you fucking dickhead. He got pocketed by Romero yesterday.
He played 120 minutes against Sevilla. He's played against Jamaica. He's tired.
Oh, sorry. You're the first team to play midweek. Sorry. Listen, that European football is all. I know it's brand new for you, but stop making that as if it's revolutionary. Teams have played on Thursdays.
Yes, but we can't rotate.
Many grueling Champions League fixtures in our run up to the final, with a depleted squad. You didn't see us bitching and moaning when we had to stuff. Yeah,
he's our only striker. And how many times was Harry Kane getting injured that season?
and exactly, we did our thing without him. So
but Antonio has played so much football.
We played 120 minutes. I don't care.
He's travelled around the Caribbean. He's travelled around America. He's travelled around Europe. He's travelled around England every week. He's our only striker. We can't take him off. He's playing 90 minutes.
You should have brought in a striker in January.
Hilarious. They should have.
Really should have, honestly.
Lee will remember this as well, and Dan will remember this as well. When 2005, when we were going for Champions League football, and it's the last game of the season, and Spurs get struck with food poisoning, and literally half our team depleted.
Food poisoning.
No, it's the truth. It's the truth. And West Ham go and beat us 2-1. Expectedly, when we literally got players who are struggling.
That's why we love West Ham.
Ask any West Ham fan if they cared about the fact that we had food poisoning. They didn't care.
It was just a
win. So don't give me that rubbish about 120 minutes. It even makes it. I'm glad.
You can ask them then, and you can ask them now, and we still don't care. You know what I mean?
I'm just saying, you stopped an exhausted Antonio from scoring. Congratulations.
Okay.
Well done. You really done something. Take your trophy. Take that trophy.
This guy.
Where
did you get off?
I want to ask one.
That's your cup final, buddy.
No, it was your final. That was your cup final. That's all you have.
That's the game you turn up for. That's your cup final.
You turned up for it.
Son, you turned up for cup final.
Son has been shit all season. You said Son has been terrible. You said. Look at what he turns up.
Son's been in full form.
Yeah, but he turns up against West Ham.
In terms of his performances per 90 this season, but his statistics are mean. I remember the piece and Lee. This is the same Dan who tried to dare insinuate that Pablo Fornals should be in a combined 11 over Son.
I said no. He's misrepresenting things.
It's there on tape, bro.
I said, Tobs, you've just sat here slating Son, giving him all of this smoke,
and then you try to take him out the team.
I said by your
by your own admission.
By your own admission. If we're doing it on form, you're telling me he's not on form. If we're doing this combined 11 by not on form, we got to take the player that's not in form out and put a player who is in form in. That's fair.
What is in form though? Because
hold on. I'm not letting you man scrap about your combined 11 any longer because we got to wrap it up because I went a bit over. And I'm definitely going to have you guys back on whenever you can because clearly there's unsettled argument, which I'm sure will continue on Lee's channel maybe tomorrow as well because I know you guys are doing something there. But very quick question before we wrap up. Quick answers. Lee, would you prefer to be in West Ham's position right now, quarterfinals of the Europa League, or Arsenal's position?
Oh,
tough.
I think I like being West because there's a chance for a trophy. Yeah. I think you've got the chance of winning it. You've got Barcelona in that, but I think that. But I still think it's going to be difficult for West Ham to win it. It's going to be difficult for Arsenal to get top four. But ultimately, at the end of the day, West Ham get Champions League and a trophy, and I think that's got to be it.
I know Dan would take West Ham's positions. I'm not going to ask him, but Toby, which would you prefer Tottenham or West Ham's position right now?
That says it all.
That silence is breaking me, man.
Silence says it all. Right.
I'm going to say first. They're not going to win it anyway. So
shut up.
And they'll end up with no trophy. So
All right, cool. We wrap up on that point. Fuck me. That silence. Whenever Toby has a silence moment, it kills me, man. It's something
that
special.
Spoke volumes.
It really did.
Man.
Listen, guys. This has been an incredible show, man. It really has, and an absolute pleasure having you guys on for the first time, and hopefully more in the future to come, whenever possible. Toby, let them know where to find you, bro. Pleasure doing it again as always, man.
Tap in Tobs on all social platforms. I need to get something. I need to have like a virtual sort of fight with Dan on my channel because some of his takes are just outrageous. But cool.
There you go, guys. Make sure you subscribe, tap in Tobs, linked in the title. Dan, let them know where to find you, bro. Big up for coming on. Honestly, it's been an absolute pleasure.
Yeah, mate. No, I've enjoyed it. It was a real pleasure for me too. At D Lawless on Twitter, Dan Lawless, WHF TV, Instagram. I need to use it more. West Ham Fan TV, everywhere you can find me. Yeah, and that's it, man. Thanks for having me. Pleasure.
Absolute pleasure. And Lee, big up, man. I really appreciate you coming on for the first time as well. Let them know where to find you. Pleasure.
Really enjoyed it. Just like Lee Judges TV, obviously obviously on AFTV, but like they've got enough subscribers. Lee Judges
Facts, 100%. Guys, it's all linked in the title. Make sure you go subscribe to Lee. Go subscribe to Dan. Go subscribe to Toby. Big them up in the comments for coming on the show for the first time as well. It's been an absolute pleasure. They've brought brilliant debate, brilliant perspective, and it's been great banter as well. I didn't know there was such a rivalry amongst you, man. I'm gonna have to get this more often. But yeah, big up everybody in the comments. I hope you've enjoyed the show. Smash up the likes. Let me know what you think of it. I'll be replying in the comments of all the different talking points. And yeah, big up your damn selves. In a bit, people. Peace.